Hapoel Tel Aviv and Maccabi Tel Aviv are starting the playoff stage in the Conference League, knowing that if they manage to get past their rivals, they secure a long European season. And we start with Hapoel Tel Aviv against Atalanta in a very tough away game, managing to get an absolutely amazing result. A 0-0 draw pushes the decision to the second leg, and it's more than just a 0-0. It's the way Hapoel Tel Aviv played throughout the 90 minutes. Except for the very dangerous chance that Asaf Tzur saved at the end, in the 91st minute, Hapoel Tel Aviv had more dangerous chances and looked more threatening throughout most of the game, even though they didn't control the ball much. A perfect preparation by Yaniv Berda for this match, and I have to point out one thing here that Berda did, which is very critical in my opinion. Both in the second leg against Ludogorets and against the Polish team, Hapoel Tel Aviv in the second half of the second game experienced a significant drop in intensity, and anyone who watched the match saw this drop happen here as well, around the 55th minute. When Hapoel Tel Aviv couldn't get past the halfway line, they couldn't string together two passes, and it looked like Atalanta had completely taken control of the game. And right when it seemed like Atalanta was taking over completely, he brought in Shan De Silva and Mor Boskila, two fresh players, because Orusso simply couldn't cope physically or in terms of speed with Atalanta's defense. Even when they sent him long balls, and that helped them a bit to get the rhythm of the game back under their control. Those were very critical minutes, and in my opinion, if he hadn't made that change there, they would have conceded the first goal, and from there things could have gone downhill. Because throughout the first half you could feel that this was Atalanta's first official game, just like how Israeli teams sometimes face clearly favored teams at the start of the European season. But those teams aren't fully synchronized yet, they haven't gone through all the training properly. They're still not fully fit or sharp, and that's the period when they're most vulnerable. So that's exactly what Hapoel Tel Aviv caught Atalanta at the right time, and it's possible that next week it will be a completely different game and Atalanta will dismantle them. Although I don't believe that, because Hapoel Tel Aviv is a very disciplined team, tactically, that knows exactly what it wants from itself, and usually it's hard to play against such teams, despite the very clear differences in level between the teams. We're talking here about a game that on the European level was played for almost 69 minutes, and at a certain point, Hapoel Tel Aviv almost collapsed from exhaustion. And that's why Berda's changes were so critical, and he managed to get Hapoel Tel Aviv to slow down the pace here effectively. Also, Hapoel ended the game with a slightly higher XG than Atalanta. Now, I don't know if the XG here necessarily reflects the game. Atalanta had a chance in the 91st minute, which was a huge save by Asaf Tzur that should have ended the game 1-0 for Atalanta, which would have been very disappointing and maybe taken the wind out of Hapoel Tel Aviv's sails. But in the end, to see an Israeli team that still comes to play football, even though they sit back, but it's not a total park the bus setup where they don't send players forward at all. Still, in my opinion, the best chance in this game was Boateng's chance, which if the finish had been a bit better, or with a bit more luck, because the goalkeeper spread himself well there, could have also put Hapoel in the lead and things would have developed differently. In the end, I think that the 0-0 or the draw here in this game completely reflects the story, and that's the biggest compliment you can give Hapoel Tel Aviv at this stage, because it was also an away game. The next game is nominally Hapoel's home game. It won't be at Bloomfield, but it also won't be in Italy. Who knows? 90 minutes. Anything can happen. And if Hapoel Tel Aviv does it and manages to eliminate one of the favorites to win the tournament, that's a huge achievement for them. On the other hand, the city rivals Maccabi Tel Aviv loses 2-1 to Lugano in the first game, in a match that I have to say, in hindsight, they got off really easy. The 2-1 score completely reflects the expected goals. I mean, Lugano had less possession, but created many more dangerous chances, and if I have to sum up the game from Maccabi Tel Aviv's perspective, it felt like they were only on the field for 10 minutes. From the start of the second half until Lugano's penalty, it wasn't even 10 minutes. It was about 8 or 9 minutes, something like that. One shot towards the goal in the first half, which was only Varela's shot that went high, in a good position by the way. A quality chance, when Davida broke through on the wing and squared it to him. But in hindsight, I think this result isn't so bad for Maccabi Tel Aviv. And maybe that's an unpopular opinion. I just think that if you lose away with this kind of result, you can come home and turn the result around relatively easily, just one goal away from tying the aggregate score, and they'll have to look better than they did in this game. Because in this game, first of all, they really didn't have an answer to Lugano's crosses, and they knew they were playing 3-5-2, with two very dominant wing players, and a very significant part of Lugano's attacking game. And they'll have to come up with creative solutions. But it's possible. It's not like they've lost the tie right now. If the match was in Israel, I tell you, honestly, it could also be 50-50, because I expect them to look completely different in a home game. So maybe it won't be a home game. It will be a game that is ultimately an away game, on a neutral field, but it also won't be a game in Switzerland. So if there's a reason to be optimistic, maybe not too much, definitely not because of what happened in this game, but from here they can only get better, and Maccabi Tel Aviv's squad is worth more than what they showed in this game. Their problem is that for now, Lugano looks like a really good team. So regarding the ranking points, Hapoel Be'er Sheva with their win over Sabah gives another point to Israel, and Hapoel Tel Aviv with the draw gives another half point. Maccabi Tel Aviv currently doesn't give any points from their loss to Lugano. We remain in 23rd place. And again, I don't expect us to make any big leap. Maybe if we manage to get at least one more team into the league stage of the Conference League, we could potentially pass Romania and Sweden here, who each have only one team that could have a long European season.